gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get ready to rumble! Y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for this?
Hello all, and welcome to part 2 of the post-draft preseason breakdown analysis for the Fantasy Football League Wit Boys. As always, I'm your host and lord, Mr. Mathematics, your commissioner, Slord. Much like part 1 of our post-draft preseason breakdown analysis, I will provide and examine data collected from a series of websites. As a quick reminder, these websites provide a strength and weakness of each team, followed by a percentage chance of each current team making the playoffs given our current league settings. Today I will break down the Eastern Division, but before I begin, let us pray. Now let us begin. The first team that we will cover will be arguably the greatest team ever assembled. The team that collectively woke up quick at around noon, just thought that they had to make the playoffs soon. The true bad boys of the NFL, the Toilet Toots. The Toilet Toots are managed by the king himself, Commissioner Slord. The Toilet Toots' biggest strength lies at the tight end position. Jimmy Graham is a notorious booty popper and is more productive than 99% of the wide receivers in the league. With the most accurate quarterback in the league under center once again, both me and the website expect another big year from James Graham. The Toilet Toots are also strong at wide receiver, with Dez Bryant poised for a breakout year, Jeremy Maclin ready to fill the void left by Deshaun Jackson, and a stable of young receivers including the always dangerous Cordero Patterson and two explosive rookies in Sammy Watkins and Mike Evans. With no true running back one, there is some concern with the Toilet Toots running backs. Ben Tate and Toby Gerhart should get plenty of carries and opportunities on their respective bad teams. However, neither of them strike fear in the defense, much like an Adrian Peterson, Jamal Charles, or LaShawn McCoy. Overall, King received a 24% chance of making the playoffs with his current team, which is good, but it's also kind of true. I'm going to make the playoffs. I'm going to do something good to all of you. It's going to be weak. What are you trying to tell me? We will now change gears and cover a good team, Willie Football. The team Willie Football is managed by Willow, a.k.a. William Wallace, a.k.a. Willem Dafoe, a.k.a. Willy Wonka. My team, the Toilet Toots, will actually be playing Team Willie Football in Week 1. This will mark the first ever relationship bowl, where I will once and for all display my dominance by ripping off her arms and legs and firing a series of cannonballs into her torso. Despite my guaranteed dominance in Week 1, Willow does have several strengths on her team. Drew Brees is a proven stat sheet stuffer at quarterback. Tight end Julius Thomas will once again be a threat and a go-to target for Peyton Manning. And her receiving core of Demaryius Thomas, Victor Cruz, and Eric Decker should provide plenty of firepower. The only listed weakness for Willow was her running backs, with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde running back Chris Johnson and a talented and up-and-coming running back Andre Ellington, who despite his talent still plays in a pass-happy Bruce Arian offense. Overall, Willow has a solid roster and a 35% chance of making the playoffs with her current team. The next team we will cover will be the Booty Quakes, managed by youngest Chaz. The Booty Quakes are incredibly strong at quarterback and have quite possibly the most insane and impressive quarterback depth in the history of fantasy football. Aaron Rodgers is a top-notch talent. Nick Foles is a borderline top 10 quarterback. Carson Palmer is a borderline top 15 quarterback. And Josh McCown is a sleeper pick after a fantastic year last season when given the chance to play in Chicago. If you need a quarterback and are looking to trade for one, look no further than Chaz and the Booty Quakes. Chaz is somewhat weak at running back and wide receiver, however. Arian Foster returns this season after missing the majority of last season with injury, and he will be productive as long as he stays healthy. The same can be said for Ryan Matthews, and Sean Green is a question mark at best in Tennessee. I do like the late addition of Nile Davis, however, and if Jamal Charles gets banged up at all, look for Nile Davis to have great production for the Kansas City Chiefs. Michael Crabtree leads a below-average wide receiver core of Kendall Wright, Anquan Bolden, and Jarrett Boykin. Chaz could certainly use some help in this area, so if you're looking to unload a wide receiver, then look no further than Team Booty Quakes. Overall, Chaz received a 14% chance of making the playoffs with his current team. We will now proceed forth to Team Cushing for the Pushing, managed by Android Stone. Much like Chaz, Android is stacked at one position, the running back position. Matt Forte, DeMarco Murray, and Alfred Morris are all legit must-start fantasy running backs. CJ Spiller and Rashad Jennings are two adequate running back twos for any fantasy team, and Jacques Bell and Pierre Thomas are both French and acceptable running back threes for any fantasy football team. The list of running backs truly is insane. If you are in need of a running back, then look no further than Team Cushing for the Pushing. Unfortunately for Andy, he was listed as having a weakness at every other position. Big Ben isn't dependable enough as a starting quarterback anymore, and the bell is sure to toll for anyone that has him as their starter this fantasy football season. Randall Cobb is an acceptable wide receiver, but after him, Andy is left with racist Riley Cooper and an aging Steve Smith. With only 3 wide receivers total on roster, Andy badly needs help in this area. If you are looking to unload a receiver via a trade, then this is a good place to do it. Despite being inadequate at almost every single position, Andy still received a 10% chance of making the playoffs with his current team, which is still somehow higher than the 8% Donovan received. We will now move on to the Zealot Zephyrs of Zamunda, managed by Dilly Willy. Dilly Willy has the most interesting and well-rounded team in the entire league. According to the website, he actually has no strengths and no weaknesses. He has a decent and historically dependable quarterback in Tom Brady, a workhorse at running back in Eddie Lacy, a top 15 back in Frank Gore, a top 5 receiver in A.J. Green, and a stout and well-rounded bench with players such as Rob Gronkowski and Noshawn Moreno. Dilly received a 44% chance of making the playoffs, but knowing Dilly, I would expect some trades sooner rather than later, and due to his overall team balance, I wouldn't rule out any position as a possible trade destination. Finally, we will conclude our post-draft preseason breakdown analysis for the Fantasy Football League We Dem Boys with the team The Ugly Bastards, managed by Adam, aka Ben Harvey. It's important to note that Adam did not draft any of the players I'm about to cover, due to the complex ESPN interface, so this really isn't his team. Regardless, I will cover his in quotation marks team, the same as I have everyone else's thus far. Ben Harvey has arguably the best running back in the game in Jamal Charles, and a stout up-and-comer in Le'Veon Bell. Maurice Jones-Drew was a good running back 3, and the Bastards have decent depth with Danny Woodhead, Christian Monkel, and James Starks filling out their bench. At wide receiver, Jordy Nelson is always productive with quarterback Aaron Rodgers under center, and wide receiver Vincent Jackson is easily the number 1 receiver in Tampa. Wide receiver Keenan Allen was a huge surprise last season as a rookie, and is poised to have yet another big year. Once again, the Ugly Bastards have great depth at wide receiver, with Michael Floyd and Greg Jennings rounding out their bench. According to the website, Ben Harvey's only weakness resides at the quarterback position. Colin Kaepernick is too hit and miss as a starting quarterback. The website recommended picking up a backup quarterback from free agency. Personally, if you were to go this route, I would recommend Sean Hill, the newly appointed starter in St. Louis, or Ryan Tannehill. Of course, the other option is you could trade for quality improvement over your starting quarterback position. Chaz would be a great trading partner for you in this scenario. Be careful when trading though. No player on your roster should be untouchable, but the return needs to match what leaves your roster. Overall, Adam Ant received a 63% chance of making the playoffs with the team he currently pretends to manage. This is the highest percentage received by any member of the We Dem Boys Fantasy Football League. I can almost hear him gloating already through my computer as I record this. So there you have it. Once again, using only the website's projected percentage of each current team to make the playoffs, we end up with a projected finish of Ben Harvey in first, Dilly in second, Willy Wonka in third, King in fourth, Chase in fifth, and Android in sixth. With these rankings, Ben Harvey and Dilly would represent the East in the playoffs. Please note that an asterisk has been placed next to Adam's name. This is due to the fact that he did not draft his own team, and therefore shall not bathe in the accolades of his in quotation mark team. Here is your projected post-draft preseason playoff bracket for the Weedham Boys Fantasy Football League. Let's give them a hand. If we were to continue forward, eliminating the team from each division with the lowest percentage to reach the playoffs, we would end up with a West champion of Sillium Weed and a partial, yet cheating, East champion of Ben Harvey. Let's give them an even larger hand. If we were to continue even further, we would end up with a preseason cheating champion of Benjamin Harvey. In honor of your partial preseason cheating championship, you will receive a medal that will be visible in the league trophy case. Let's give him an even larger hand, but sprinkled in with some booze for cheating. So there you have it. A cheater has won this meaningless award. It will be interesting to see just how accurate these projections really were as we progress through the season. I look forward to raping and pillaging every single one of your booty holes this season. Let the trading and team improving begin. Easy.
At about noon, just thought that I had to be in Compton soon. I gotta get drunk before the day begins, before my mother starts with the Mac 10 on the side of my hip. Bailed out's all about making that GTA, cause the boys in the